Welcome to the show 10 Mentors. Every Tuesday, we share one idea borrowed from mentors, books, philosophy, and life as it actually is. I'm Dan. Before we start, a quick thank you for being here, genuinely, because we're trying to build something here, and I really believe this should become normal. Mentoring should be made available to everyone. When someone starts work, whether they're an apprentice in admin, in sales, or leading a team for the first time, they shouldn't have to spend 10 years figuring out lessons that could have been shared in one box. Everyone deserves a mentor, and if someone doesn't have one yet, why not give them a starting point? That's the mission behind 10 Mentors, all right? I want to start somewhere unusual today. Not with psychology or philosophy or some self-help framework, but with an orchestra. I remember watching a performance of Spring One by Max Richter, which is part of his beautiful reinterpretation of Antonio Vivaldi's Four Seasons, where a piece written centuries ago was reshaped for our time. And I'm not going to lie, something inside me woke up when I watched it. The piece itself is just out of this world. But what stayed with me wasn't only the music, it was the people playing it. The orchestra was made up of musicians from different countries, different ages, different backgrounds, men and women sitting side by side with one shared purpose, which was simply to play the piece together. And when you watch closely, you notice something powerful. No instrument is trying to dominate. Sometimes one instrument steps forward, but only because the others support it. And if you watch carefully, even on video, you notice something else, and that is many of the musicians are smiling because each person is waiting for their moment. Each instrument entering at exactly the right time, and together they are creating something none of them could create alone, and that itself is a masterpiece. And I'll tell you why. Because if one section tried to overpower the rest, the entire piece would collapse into noise. But when they listen to each other, when every part plays its role, something extraordinary happens. The sound becomes larger than any individual musician. It becomes harmony. And I remember thinking something very simple. This is what cooperation looks like. And if you haven't seen it, I'd really encourage you to take 3 minutes and watch it. I'll leave a link below so you can experience it for yourself. So I'm sitting there watching it, I realized something. The orchestra is a metaphor for society. Because today we talk a lot about toxicity, toxic masculinity, toxic workplaces or toxic teams, toxic relationships, toxic politics. And sometimes those criticisms are valid. But often what we're really witnessing is something simpler, and that is a breakdown in coordination where you have some people trying to dominate the music instead of contributing to it. And the truth is, toxicity will probably never disappear completely. Human beings are competitive creatures. We have egos, we seek status, and that's part of our nature. You see versions of it across the animal kingdom too, like deer locking antlers in the forest, birds competing in elaborate displays, or elephant seals battling for territory. Competition exists everywhere, even in nature, but the most extraordinary things humans create rarely come from domination. They come from coordination. And I love that. Like, think of orchestras or sports teams or scientific breakthroughs or companies, even societies, and all of them work best when different roles support one another and they create something bigger than themselves. That's why Max Richter's Spring One stayed with me. It's not just beautiful music, it's a reminder of something deeper. Our differences are not the problem. Competition is not even the problem. The problem is forgetting how to play together, and perhaps that's why the orchestra stays with me, because it shows us in the simplest possible way what cooperation actually looks like. As the orchestra teaches us, the violin is not superior to the cello, nor the cello to the bass. The music exists only because they listen to one another, and maybe that's the lesson. Toxicity may never disappear, but harmony becomes possible when we remember we are all playing our part to bring the masterpiece to life. We are sharing the same world and just all trying to do our best. Thanks for spending this time with me on 10 Mentors Tuesday. I'm Dan Borrow. What helps and leave the rest. See you next Tuesday.